and rather than just be a stepping stone for other players, and I definitely think we're going in the right direction with that.
Well, it looks like we're going to be kicking off with the draft as well for this first game of this grand final. Gentlemen, I'll allow you to take this one away.
Sure. I think the screen might just be shimmied a tiny bit for us, as looks a bit weird at this point, but Shikari is the top laner for XL, so that's just going to be slid up. But okay, never mind.
We'll get back to it.
Can't see draft. Okay, I'm predicting that bot ban was a.
This is where we pay you the big bucks, right?
Oh,
you now
yeah.
have to, you now have to do the whole draft blind.
We'll do draft as well. Do you want to draft Singularity? I'll draft for XL. Okay, so I'm blue side.
Okay, yeah, you're blue side.
Okay, I'm gonna ban. What do I want to ban against you?
They banned Zai already, by the way.
Oh, that was. Oh,
what's Zai?
Yeah, so you get.
Is that the ban that you did see? Well, we'll get that sorted as soon as we can for you guys, and we'll see what the draft's going on. But meanwhile, we'll carry on with that conversation we were having before the draft started. Off of Scudsy's point then, Will, about UK League and stuff like that, and we were saying where it needs to go and what direction it needs to go. Is it like other titles and other games where we see teams changing their roster too often? Do they need to stick together a little bit more?
Honestly, it depends whether or not what you're doing, how the team's doing, and what the issues are. So if the issues are, an individual's player motivation, you have two choices, right? You can either try and motivate them yourself, that's mainly coaching staff and obviously the team as well, or alternatively you can sub them out for someone who's more motivated. We have seen some great success coming from teams like M&M before, who have kept with the same roster for 6 to 9 months-ish, and they did great. But then a lot of people might just say, yeah, but they did great because their roster was the best. They didn't need to change anything out because their players were already sort of the top players in their positions, or at least top 2 in their positions. Honestly, it's not there's not an easy formula, but in general, I think what sticking together does is it allows you as an individual to sort of work on improving as opposed to bouncing between teams. And the first couple of weeks of playing with a new team is entirely chaos, and then things start to progress and improve, and then finally after maybe a few months you can genuinely be like, okay, I have a problem here with the fact that I'm not doing this to help this guy, and instead of just camping mid lane, you then learn to also camp top lane because you're trying a new style and all that jazz. So there's merit to both. Honestly, I think sticking together in general always sounds nice, isn't necessarily the best approach, but
especially going into a new team, there are evident problems straight away. You can't really pinpoint one specific problem in a new team. There's lots of them, right? The point of being in a team and playing constantly together is progressing together and growing together as a team to try and reduce as many problems as possible. So later on, a couple of months after the same team has stuck together, problems start to show up that are a bit more obvious because there's not very many of them, right? So you know what you have to focus on as a team to better yourself going into the future.
And now these two teams have had that little bit extra time to practice as well. So I'm hoping that we are going to see improvements from the semi-finals. Now, being told the draft is still going on, we're just having a few issues being able to actually see what's happening. But coming from the semi-finals and getting into the final, is there any expectations of what we think is going to happen in this draft? Do you think there is going to be research that these teams would have had looking back at the semi-finals?
Yeah, so we've already mentioned that Singularity have been playing a lot of tournaments recently. Obviously, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, they were playing a match. So I think XL has had a lot of opportunity to scout Singularity, and perhaps more so than Singularity has XL, because they simply haven't played any tournaments on this patch for the last month. And being able to watch your opponent's games is obviously huge. You can look at what they do. I know there's been a couple of changes in the recent patch coming out, but you just get an idea of how they play, who they play around, the kind of champions they do and don't prioritize, and it's certainly something you can get used to and look at. And because this patch hasn't changed, I mean, it's changed a fair bit, but it hasn't necessarily changed the entire meta completely. It's not a massive shake-up. So there's definitely stuff you can learn and then transition from watching their VODs and then learning from them.
So would you say that XL potentially can be more confident coming into this grand final then, because they've had that scouting possibilities, Scudsy? We spoke about favourites and we said that XL probably are, but you are suggesting that maybe Singularity aren't the underdogs that we thought they might be. What is it about Singularity that allows them to have a chance in this grand final then?
I think the determination of a new team that are being put together in a new tournament. Bear in mind, XL have been playing together throughout UK Masters, throughout Insomnia, or other events like that. Singularity was just made solely for ESL UK, and the same team has stuck together and played other tournaments and other games to practice and to grow together as a team to be able to achieve this ultimate goal, to win ESL UK. And I think their determination is going to show today, and we're going to be able to see how much they really want to win this.
And how much of an impact is it going to be having that new coach behind them then? Because he's, as you said, an LCS coach, did you say? He's come in, and that's going to be a huge thing, having an experienced coach coming in and showing you what to do.
Yeah, Blumigan, I believe he is a coach for Dark Passage in Turkish LCS. It can either go one or two ways, really. He's going to do a draft really, really well, and he's going to pick some very good champions that are going to allow Singularity to play around and hopefully take a win off the game, or it's not going to go very well and they're going to have disagreements with the coach and it might just be a bit messy. And
we've managed to get a little sneak preview of the draft there, so you can see which champions have been picked. Any initial thoughts from what you can see there, Frozen Dawn?
All right, so no, I mean, okay, so the big surprise is just looking at it in general. I mean, Sejuani's still being played. I kind of assumed she was gutted. But into the Trundle Jarvan, I think she's going to have a pretty tough time because Trundle can shred tank stats so effectively. And I'm very interested in the mid lane matchup, Xerath against Azir. So Azir is something that has been meta a long time ago. Insane skill ceiling on that champion. You absolutely have to be amazing at it to be able to pull it out just because the champion is, objectively so hard to play. But Xerath being picked into it. Now, I don't know which order those two champions were picked, but I think you can blind pick a Azir more comfortably than you can blind pick a Xerath.
Definitely,
I'd like to think. So perhaps this is clearly something they've sort of planned and prepped in advance. Quite interested to see how that plays out, in honesty.
I don't know if you had a chance to write anything down there, Scudzy, as well. You can glance at Will's notes.
I did my I've written in like a medicine.
What's really strange for me is the Sejuani and the Azir picks from the side of Singularity, because we are playing on 721, as mentioned previously, and Azir and Sejuani were the champions that received nerfs. Sejuani, very, very big nerf, not the top tier jungler that she was in previous patches, like the Worlds patch that we saw earlier today. Still a very contested pick on that particular patch. Nowadays, she's seen a lot less play in solo queue. Competitive games, there's not been very many spectatable on this current patch. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does against the Jarvan matchup, which is still top tier, king of the jungle, who sort of dominates. And we are going to go into the first game of this best of 5 here.
Yeah, let's jump on into game 1 of the grand final here at the ESL Premiership. Let's toss this one over to our casters. It's Jaws and it's Foxtrot.
Let's get it on Foxtrot. EXCEL versus Singularity. EXCEL over on the blue, Singularity over on the red. Grand final time. And there's a few picks in there that we weren't necessarily expecting. Azir and that Xerath being picked up in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, level 1 invade coming through here, mostly just a scout, potentially get some vision. If you can get a cheeky stun with Taric as well, then there's certainly first blood pressure here. But yeah, I mean, Scuzzy mentioned he doesn't really feel like Azir's as good right now. I think if this game goes late, Azir's still going to pump out the deeps and be a complete machine. So I definitely think that Singularity's late game team comp is pretty strong. So we'll see whether or not with this level 1 going down here, whether this can work in EXCEL's favour, because I think that's where they want to get going.
Realistically, look at the tank line from Singularity.
Oh, yeah.
You say he's going to pump out the damage late game. He's got a Cho'Gath to hide behind. He's got a Sejuani to hide behind. Then you've got Varus poking from afar and even Thresh for the massive disengage. Singularity, if they go late, big problems for EXCEL, but one thing we've seen from Singularity over the course of the ESL Premiership is Sessa's control of the jungle. Week 1, they faced each other. Sessa had undeniable control on the Rek'Sai, I believe it was, just destroyed the jungle of Taxa's jungle. Not Jungle Taxa. Well, technically he's a jungler, I guess. But I want to see if he's going to be able to recreate that after Sejuani did receive these nerfs.
Yeah, Sejuani is still, like you say, she's been nerfed, so she's not quite as aggressive as she was before, but I mean, she can still do what she needs to do, which is to be this obnoxious frontline that has this really sick engage. And if you can combo through like the Varus and the Sejuani engage, that's going to be pretty scary. And like you say, with the Azir and the Varus carries, those are your damage dealers. They can do that from being miles away. And how are you going to get close to them with Sejuani and Cho'Gath? So later on, that's going to be a definite problem that EXCEL is going to have to solve.
We want answers, Foxtrot. We don't need questions right now. EXCEL looking for answers. In the bottom lane, however, I mean, we have got this Ashe and the Taric. Taric seeing a little bit more popularity. Thresh, he's going to land the hook. Shifter not quite wanting to commit. He was under turret after all. And that Ashe is going to become kind of a monster in the late game as well. The amount of pick potential that EXCEL do have on their lineup is pretty scary. Not only have you got Xerath for the long-range artillery strikes, you've got Taxa that can follow up fairly easily after an Ashe arrow does land on a priority target.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as far as the lane phases go, this was probably going to be a bit of a uneventful lane phase. There's not really anything too special that can go down. A lot of lanes have potential for setups to kills though. So if the junglers want to get something going, and if they do get stuff going, then we can certainly see some bloody games here. But I mean, with the Taric and post 6 especially, when you're working with Ashe and you're going for picks with her, I mean, as long as you can dodge the Cho'Gath and Sejuani, you don't really want to hit those, but early gank.
Taxa's been spotted on a ward. Nice pillar. Kerberos still has flash. That red buff's going to start to burn. It's going to start to slow him up. Flag and drag. Kerberos still not committing the flash. He's going to flash straight after, but Shikari, Taxa, they flash as well. That's first blood to XL.
Only consolation there is it's 2 flashes down from XL as well, so potentially might be able to punish that. But man, that's not what you want to see if you're playing as Cho'Gath. And post level 6 with this Trundle into tanks, he's going to struggle in that 1v1 regardless. So you don't want to get set behind early. That can be a real pain right there. But a good early gank from Jarvan. That's what he's good at doing. That's what they wanted to get rolling here.
Now, Azir did get changed, and probably one of the reasons why we are seeing him. His soldiers, when he does Arise, their range isn't as big or as obnoxious as it used to be, going from 800 to 660. Cast range going from 450 to 500. You can't tell I've got the patch notes open right now, can you?
No. This is all from your mind.
Same Conquering Sands as well. The cast range of that isn't so obnoxious anymore. So him being changed and then nerf on this live patch right now, 721, we got to put it into question. Was he a counter pick into the Xerath? I don't think so. I think Azir was picked up first, rather safe. There's going to be a hook straight onto Inax Ignite as well. He's going to flash 2 flashes after them as well. Inax falling extremely low, does use the heal also to get away. And now Shifter is going to have to follow up Maddie. There's a nice dazzle from Orcs. Shifter's falling low. Another kill goes over to XL, and Inax is going to be the one to take it.
Beautiful 2v2 kill. That's what they need. Excellent stuff. And a kill in the top lane. What happened there? We didn't even see that. But Cho'Gath is dead again. I said he didn't want to go behind in this early game. Post 6, he's really going to struggle versus Trundle. And he's done so. But that was a 2v2 as well. That's the troubling thing there. Caesar was top lane, I believe. We didn't get to see it, but I think my spidey senses are tingling, telling me he was top lane. So you're losing the 2v2. That is the worst feeling when you're playing jungle. You go to a lane, you want to try and help out. You end up wasting your time. And then you see your bot lane down to 2v2 as well, bot side. That's not good.
We just said how good Singularity's composition is in the late game. We're going to jump into a replay, though, of what actually happened.
So this is just like a really easy setup for Jarvan. Notice how he holds his EQ here. He doesn't want to start with the flag and drag because he wants to walk up and slow them down first. And I said this was a 2v2. I guess I lied. Sejuani's here, but I mean, that's...
She was and she wasn't.
Yeah, she was just getting a nice cheeky view of what's going down firsthand. Didn't want to check it out from the map herself. And that's, to be fair, it probably would have been better if Sejuani hadn't even shown there, because they know that that's a lot of information that's revealed by her showing topside. So
Kerberos didn't have flash. It was pretty much set and done as soon as you saw that pillar go down. Yeah. Now, Singularity, like I said, their late game is so nice. They've got Azir, they've got a Varus that can poke from range, they got beautiful tanks as well in the Sejuani and Kerberos as well in the Cho'Gath. Problem is, that Trundle gets ahead at any one point, and funnily enough, he's now got Tiamat over the 2 cloth armors with almost doubling his CS in the 6-minute mark. It's bad news bear for Kerberos right now. He's one very unhappy Void Monster.
It's terrible news because how do you stop him? Like, when you think about solutions to this Trundle right now, you're not going to stop him in the 1v1. How are you going to get him when this guy's a tank shredder? That's you can't even 2v1 him, really. Post 6, you can't, and he's level 6 now, so we're talking about post 6. How Sejuani can come top, but can't stop him. So this is a real problem now, and this is going to put a lot of pressure, depending on how Shikari plays this. This top lane is going to be a real issue right now. Singularity are going to find themselves in a bit of a pickle.
Now, Caesar hasn't really gone for any meaningful ganks so far. He's more been on the counter-ganking path, looking at Taxa. Wanted to go up towards the top side, but was a little bit too late. If you look at the summoner spells coming out from mid lane as well, Krumel had to actually blow his flash in an engagement a few minutes ago. Both of them taking cleanse, extremely scared of any viable forms of CC Xerath, especially because of how immobile he is. Caesar hasn't paid attention to Krumel at all. A flash has been down for a couple of minutes now, and he's just not seen anything from it. It doesn't look like they're actually moving down to the bottom lane, or at least Taxa's pathing that way.
4-man dive here. I mean, they know they have no summoners down. They've communicated that. There's not much they can do to stop this.
Maddie X backing away. Shifter's going to do that as well. Chains Corruption onto Taxa to make sure he doesn't step up even further, but that's a big cooldown, mind you. He's just only hit level 6. Inax is a little bit behind, but look how much damage they're going to get onto the turret.
Yeah, this threatens the tower now. It really just depends what Singularity can do on the rest of the map, because you can see Sejuani's in mid lane. Not going to be able to counter this dive bot side, so they've got to get something going.
Nice hook, Taxa, flag, drag out, but Zerev's getting chased. There is the Sejuani. Oh, does use the cleanse to get out of there, but Paris Gree is going to be able to find one on the board for Singularity.
That's what they needed. I said she's not going to be able to show top side, so instead of trying to match the pressure there by going bot, you want to try and create your own pressure somewhere else. Getting the kill does exactly that, especially considering nothing massive happened onto that tower. A bit of chip damage. Maybe then XL can set up and actually try and take that one in the future, but as far as it goes, don't lose anything big. Get a kill in mid lane, plus the cleanse, which is pretty big considering Sejuani has 2 forms of hard CC. That can mean quite a lot. And with Azir still having both summoners, Criminal having no summoners, that's a pretty scary mid lane matchup there for the Sejuani to return to. Might get a nice Shurima shuffle going on to get the second kill, but
I mean, that's what I was thinking. You look at him, he's level 8. He's got lost chapters. He's got more than enough damage to go for a Shurima shuffle. Although Krumel does have the dark still. He's going for the style points in the mid lane more than anything, it seems. Shikari getting some nice vision here in the river. And the problem with that is Kerberos can't respond to that either. There's no way he can follow up on Shikari's roams. He still has teleport as well. Kerberos is coming up in a couple of seconds. All I can see Shikari doing now, setting up a gank for the bot lane, taking that bot turret, because the Ocean Drake is available, not necessarily the best Drake to go for in the early game, but it's Drake nonetheless.
Well, in the very early game, Ocean Dragon is probably the best one to take, especially if you've got a Xerath, who's very mana hungry in lane phase, and an Azir on the other side, who's also very mana hungry in lane phase. So if you can get that regen going in the very early lane phase, Ocean's probably something these guys, both teams will want to contest for, at least for creating this mid lane pressure, because if you can push the enemy mid laner in and create priority, that's going to mean a lot.
Oh, big arrow engaged. There was nothing left of Shifter. That's another kill for XL. Inax making use of the pick potential they had in bottom lane, and funnily enough, Taxa's there as well, and they're going to get even more chip damage down onto that tier 1.
It's good though that Cesar's here as well now, because they might be able to defend this tower push. Hopefully, maybe something happening topside as well, but if Sejuani's here to defend, it's going to be difficult for XL to take this tower here. But still, I mean, this is ultimately a 2v3, but you would have to think without the Ash Arrow that it might not happen, but you still got Jarvan resources, you've got Taric resources as well, and Xerath is roaming down.
Realistically, they have Cataclysm, but Sessa has the Glacial Prism as well. Change of Corruption, there comes the Tower Ultimate. Orcs is going to survive for the time being, looking cool with the shades on. Is going to back out rather sharpish, but XL still piling on the pressure. Consistent game of pressure. They want to be able to take first turret in the bottom lane so they can force Kerberos even further behind.
Next time this Ash Arrow comes up, expect Jarvan to show bot side again, expect this tower to go down. I would imagine that's the game plan at least. The great thing for XL though is this 1v1 pressure in top side is working heavily in XL's favor. Cho'Gath can farm on the tower, I mean he's 20 CS down. As far as that 1v1 matchup goes, he really doesn't care about being 20 CS down. I mean, he's Cho'Gath. He's just going to get tanky, and that, you know, he's going to be happy about that. Come on, mate, you got to see. Yeah, good point. There we go.
That was close. It always takes one teammate to kind of ping it out for you, and then you're in 1 second of the recall left, and everybody's pinging. But he got there in the end. No worries. Yeah. I know his feel. I'm always in the item shop before I end up finishing the recall.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing Twitch chat rages at you the most for. If these guys are streaming live. Yeah, walking over wards, spamming. But even if you're walking your way to a kill, and you're intentionally ignoring the wards.
Like I can get there quicker. I have to 5 auto attacks. Come on, leave me alone, guys.
It's rubbish.
Exactly that. Do you know what isn't rubbish right now?
XL.
Funnily enough. I mean, they're doing a fantastic job of just pressuring this bottom side so much that Inax is feeling a little bit more scared. No, sorry, Matty X should feel a little bit more scared now. Shifter is going to clear one of these wards out, and he's doing a somewhat adequate job of just trying to counteract Taxa as well, because like you said, as soon as the Ash Arrow is off cooldown, they're going to want to gank bot time and time again. He is level 7 now. It's not the biggest cooldown in the world. Let's not lie. The Ash Arrow is somewhat negligible. Just fire it out willy-nilly. You see most pro players in professional games, if they've got the arrow up and they see an inch of hope to be able to get a kill, if you manage to find it, then that opens up the entire map.
I mean, I would say, though, that they're almost entirely reliant on someone else coming down and making this a 3v2, because if you look at the CS totals, to have 2 kills onto Inax and not be able to translate that to any kind of lead in the bot lane as far as CS goes, that means that you're going to have to send someone down, and they want to go for this like push, this tower pressure. So that's why Jarvan's hovering around bot side. It's easier for XL to play this one, though, because they know the cooldowns. They know Ash Arrow cooldown. And Sejuani has to come as well, and now be glued to this bot lane. So,
yeah, Sessa instantly showed there as well. Didn't want to wait for them to step up to this turret because it is on a fraction of health. Excel's wards have been pretty good as well. We got to mention that. Let's be fair to them. There's a lot of wards down to the bottom side. And I want to focus on Shikari really quickly here. He has acquired a small CS lead from the early stages of the game, but hasn't really done much with it. He's got the Tiamat, he's got the Vamp Scepter, so infinite sustain, let's say, in the top side. But Kerberos right now, sitting on the Bramble Vest, he's more than happy with that, and the Ninja Tabites as well to disregard even more damage. He's just going to stack up later. Do you punish him more now, or do you continue to focus Xmati in the bottom lane?
I mean, I feel like right now your goal is to get the First Blood Tower. So whether... I mean, the bot lane tower here for Singularity is so low that seems like the easy thing to do, but Singularity know that as well. So that's why they're hanging around. Sejuani probably hasn't left this bot side jungle for the last 13 minutes, and we're in a 13-minute game. I'm not exaggerating there either, of course. Jones
Corruption's going to land. The Taric Ultimate's going to come through. Big stun onto Xmati.
Oh, wow.
The Cataclysm was good. They end up taking the turret also. Forces the flash out of Xmati, and they manage to secure first turret blood. Paris Gree going for the Streamer Shuffle, finds Creamo. Can he find the stun? No soldiers left, but the shifting sands aren't going to be enough. Paris Gree flashes forward for the kill.
I think maybe Xerath had taken the shades from Taric there, because he had something impairing his vision. There were too many missed skill shots in that 1v1. That's what happens, though. In this kind of play, Azir has the kill potential. If Xerath has zero way to escape, I mean, he has his summoners, but outside of that, nothing going, it can happen.
He had both summoners up as well. That was what the scary thing was. Shikari has found himself a nice little sand soldier, but Paris Green will end up backing off. He's found 2 kills now as well, mind you.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good win condition for Singularity as well. Get this Azir rolling. I mean, he can stand so far back and have this massive front line that he can pump out the deeps, and it's cool if he gets these kills, and if Cho'Gath falls behind, as long as they don't use that to get loads of other stuff, which honestly the XL hasn't done that so far, then I think that's fine. I mean, we did have Shikari teleporting bot side, so that's why he's not been able to fully punish. But they got the first blood tower from that. But I mean, Cho'Gath just goes even and he's fine. So. Or even slightly less than that.
He is now even in CS, mind you. With the kill from Shikari being first blood was a bit of extra gold. But other than that, like I mentioned, more than happy to just kind of sit back, farm up. Trundle, I'm going to ignore you, pal. I got Bramble Vest. I've got the Ninja Tabbies as well. Not doing a whole lot of damage to me, although Ravenous Hydra has been finished, so it's a bit of extra added on top of the Tiamat.
Yeah, Trundle's kind of whole game plan here, with you can see from his item build, it's really just to push up and just keep Kerberos down. It's going to be hard to 1v1. I know I kind of hyped that up a bit earlier, but at this point, now that they're kind of even again, the Bramble Vest comes through and cuts down Trundle's healing in half from his ultimate, and the healing from his Ravenous Hydra. I mean, Cho'Gath has disgusting sustain by itself anyway, so none of these guys are really going to land any damage that sticks. So they have to dedicate to each other, and that's going to be really difficult to do just by design because of their champions and the junglers, so...
Cessa's been spotted out. They were pinging this Ocean Drake. They have no idea Shikari's here. However, now they do. They're going to spot out that control ward.
But look at them moving straight towards the Rift Herald. If you see the enemy jungler show bot side, what do? You get something top side. And that's exactly what they're trying to do here. But she's rotating pretty quickly, so you might get a bit of a melee here.
Paris Grease still has the Streamer Shuffle available to him. However, they are just going to disengage. XL deciding against it. Ocean Drake for the Rift Herald would be perfect, but Sessa reacts to this, instantly rotates to the top side.
And I was talking to Scuzzy before these games, lovely handsome young man on the analyst desk, and he feels like Cessa is the weakest link from Singularity. And as far as this early game has gone, Taxa has probably had much more impact. I feel like he's also making the more proactive plays. But if you're sticking your weak link on a Sejuani, it doesn't matter. I mean, even if Cessa may well be the worst player in the history of mankind. I'm sure he's not. But if you're playing Sejuani, you're just chilling out, that's fine. And I feel like that it's smart to play towards your win conditions, and to have your best player on the Azir, that's really, really good.
Singularity refusing to give up that tier 1 turret in the top lane. XL, they need to take it. They want it. They can see it in their sights. It's once again going so low that they're sending Taxa up to the top side. And in fact, that does allow Paris Gree to actually destroy the turret in the mid lane, forcing Crumel out of lane completely now. 30 CS deficit as well for Crumel. Cessa, maybe looking for a little something here. But
that's maybe a bit too adventurous. I'm not sure. You probably need 5 people to make that one happen. And you do not want to die versus a Taric ultimate. That's... I mean, you're asking for trouble there. but they might be able to dive onto the Xerath instead.
Oh, Glacial Prism. He's going to get cleansed away. Paris-Gree didn't want to engage on that one. And the flash was blown as well. So 2 summoners in the mid lane yet again.
I mean, that's good because Azir's already winning this 1v1. He's already solo killed the Xerath. And just as far as this one goes as well, oh, he's going in. Shurima shuffled him out. Mid lane, it's happening.
Oh, Kremel dies to the turret. Paris-Gree finding another solo kill, giving a bit of BM as well. Inax going extremely low, does pull the Taric ultimate, but no, he is going to go down to the Thresh. Orcs backing off now, is going to get stunned, airborne, all of the above. Too much CC for him to handle, doesn't even want to flash out. 2 kills to Singularity now, making it a total of 3 across the board, and they are pushing in mid lane hard.
Yeah, that's, oh gosh. XL must be sweating in their jimmies right now. Holy moly, you do not want to see. This has essentially been the 1v1 show, to an extent. Sejuani has come in on Cesar, and he's done blown summoners, but I would say that the majority of what's happening mid lane here is this pure 1v1 matchup. And I say that it's pretty surprising. You would have to imagine the Xerath was picked because he can just chill out, wave clear pretty easily, stand far back, not have to worry too much. Somehow Nocturne's been invited to this game because I can't see anything. A lot of darkness. There he is.
Oh, it came out of nowhere. It must have been Frozen Dawn's mid-Nocturne being picked up. My goodness.
The pocket pick. We talked about pocket picks in Frozen Dawn. He said there wouldn't be any, and he was lying. It was his all along.
It was his all along. He was the secret agent for XL. Secret agent Nocturne. Next skin line, I'm calling it right now.
You know what's scary about this game being 19 minutes 30? We're 30 seconds away from a Baron spawning, and we've just picked up a Rift Herald. So you can do something cheeky like stick the Rift Herald bot side and then stack top and try and get that Baron. It'll be interesting to see what they try and do with this Rift Herald. Traditionally speaking, what you do is you try and get that first blood tower in one of the side lanes and then pick up the Rift Herald and get that for to break the mid open. I don't think Singularity need any help breaking mid. We've already got 2 towers there. So this is where it becomes really exciting to see, and you're going to see the stylistic approach here from Singularity in their whole play styles, because now they have the free will to see, like, okay, what do we want to do with this?
Well, what they have done is sent Paris-Gree to the bottom side. He is 3-0, has a 2-level lead on Shikari, even has Morello's for that Grievous Wounds as well. He's going to be able to secure the Dragon, so he can contend with the Trundle right now. He has got the most wave clear on the team currently, is able to push in that lane time and time again, like you said, to pressure that bot side, stick that cheeky Herald down, go straight up to top, and hey-ho, that's a free Baron.
But you want to, this is what's really smart about this as well, is that traditionally you would say Baron's open now with 3 people bot, but you can't steal from Cho'Gath. They keep Cho'Gath topside. And in theory, if they wanted to go for this Baron XL, which is what they're doing now, this is now very risky with Cho'Gath in the vicinity. Teleport
coming in. Sessa is going to have to get his Keystone moving. Baron's already at half HP. Kerberos is trying to make his way in. Ranger Corruptions are going to hit. It's going to hit Shikari. Kerberos being the target of all the aggression from XL. Lantern wasn't enough. There comes the Xerath ultimate as well. Not quite finding Xmati, but Taxa does. Xmati flashes out the way. Healer's going to get popped as well. Now Sessa and Paris-Gree are joining the fray.
Here comes the
Glacial Prism, but Paris-Gree has got the Azir. The Shurima shuffle on Shikari. Hasn't got summoners either. Singularity, they find the kill onto the Taric, and Shikari in the 1v4 is going to go down as well. Singularity with a perfect rotation. Pick up 2 kills for 1.
That's the great thing about the Cho'Gath pick. Sticking him topside, XL have to turn and kill Cho'Gath. If they don't, Cho'Gath comes in. You cannot secure Baron versus the Feast. Feast will outdamage the Smite. You're not going to be able to get it. And with the Rift Herald now as well, this has to be an inhibitor going down.
Breaking the base, and XL not only secured first blood, they secured the first 3 kills. And with 20 minutes on the clock, Singularity have turned that 2k gold lead for XL into 4,000 for themselves. Breaking the base at 22 minutes, they're going to secure the first inhibitor of the game.
And the great thing about having an inhib down is that now it makes the other objectives easier to approach, because you've got one lane that's going to be constantly pushing. Ideally, you want to have this bot lane with the inhibitor down if you want to make a Baron play, because it's the lane that's the furthest away from Baron. But you're not going to complain about having mid down as well. That's cool too. And now, if you look at the map as well, Singularity really have only breached this mid lane. They very recently took the top tier 1 tower, but outside of that, it's just been all about mid lane. And a lot of that was the 1v1 as well. And being able to play around that, you have to think that putting resources early game into putting Kerberos behind hasn't really turned into anything. And that's the struggle right now with this Azir popping off.
Well, considering he's got Righteous Glory in his inventory now as well. Look, he can walk up to Shikari. He doesn't really care too much because he's got the amount of sustain he does have. And Shikari not so much, because the Bramble Vest is going to come into action, and now he is winning the trades. Half HP on Shikari already, and that was a couple of seconds with Shikari going aggressive. This turret is going to fall, and it's going to fall pretty damn fast with the minion wave stacking up.
He gets so much health just for killing minions. It's absolutely vile. There's just no way that Shikari can do anything to Kerberos right here. There's absolutely no way. I mean, this looks pretty one-sided in just those trades, but Trundle does have a lot of sustain with his Ravenous Hydra Rush, and if he were to pop the ultimate, you would see Cho'Gath actually taking some damage, but it wouldn't be enough, so that's why we're not seeing it. There's no point, really. But this right here is just a slugfest. They're just trying to create as much pressure by pushing, trying to force that person under the tower, and it may be actually a 1v1 going down bot lane. Looks like Shikari might be chasing. There we go.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to chase him up. Feast is still available, mind you, for Kerberos. And he can heal off these minions. Righteous Glory has been popped for the slow, so has that giant cut. Does get the knock up.
That's it.
Chomping away. That might just be it. Although Frozen Domain is going to get unleashed. Kerberos and Shikari don't have flash, mind you. Rupture doesn't end up missing. He does two-step him out of the way. But meanwhile, Singularity focusing on that Baron. Now going to back off though, as their ultimate is ripping through them, it seems, and Tax actually moving inwards now.
You have to question the kind of nerves that go down when you're playing on stage from the. I mean, I know we saw the World Championship finals a little bit earlier, but I don't think this is an exaggeration to say the greatest finals we will see today. You don't want to make a mistake, and Baron throws are probably the easiest way to throw a game in League of Legends. So you'll see a lot of people dancing around, and I think it's quite smart for Singularity to start the Baron play, because I think XL is more reliant on Trundle than Singularity is on Cho'Gath. This is as far as how strong other
nice
players
hook, actually. Glacial Prism will be instantly unlocked. Taric ultimate comes down. All members invulnerable for the time being, but that is a big cooldown for Orcs.
I think that's enough, honestly. You can't teamfight, you can't 5v5 with this Azir here when your Taric ult's down.
Yeah, literally starting up right now.
Oh, no.
Arrow is going to hit. It's going to hit Shifty. He's going fairly low. Singularity now backing off. Taxa gets faded away, but they're going to kill him anyway. Kerberos in the front line, can't sustain against 5 people. Catechism to make sure they secure the kill. They find 2, but their base is being destroyed in the process. They can't go for this Baron just yet because they're about to lose the Nexus turret.
I was completely wrong. I thought that was the Baron for Singularity, and that was all she wrote. Xerath finally pulling through. That's probably why they picked the Xerath, thinking you can be safe in the mid lane and then just poke. Xerath is probably the best poke champion in the game as far as that goes. His whole kit is about throwing things out from range, and they managed to pull off a great combo with the Ash Arrow. All the poke goes down, and they can't secure the Baron.
You say that, but have you seen my AP, Shaco?
I mean,
it's a lot of damage.
Whenever I talk about amazing things, I'm excluding that because of how amazing it is.
Okay, good.
Obviously.
Just making sure you're aware.
Yeah.
Just making sure everybody else is aware as well.
I mean, we didn't see the draft phase, but I'm assuming that was one of the bans.
Absolutely. Shaco, top priority right now, as you can tell. No tanks in the jungle, that is. It's all Shaco bans. Remember that, guys.
Okay.
Now.
Moving away from the bronze episodes of League of Legends into this game. Double Warmogs from Singularity.
What is Singularity's game plan now? They've got the sustain. They're able to fight and fight and fight. The amount of CC and the late game potential that we said they had has now almost come online. Yeah. Kerberos he is 0-4, but he's also a Cho'Gath with Warmogs and a Righteous Glory running at your AD carry at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
That
who is
score
very
means
immobile.
nothing. Yeah, it means absolutely nothing at this point in the game, really. I mean, we saw he can't 1v1 Shikari, but Shikari can't do anything really to punish him. Here we go again.
They're going to try for this Baron one more time. Here comes the Xerath ult, but they're not going to back off just yet. Half HP, Taxa off to the sidelines. Ex-Matty is taking a lot of damage. It's going to smite, but it's going to go over to Singularity. They find the hook on Orcs. He's trapped in the box. He's going to go down as well after the Chains of Corruption do land, and that will be Trundle trying to get out of there, but a beautiful Shurima shuffle will end him in the bin as well. Kerberos gets his first 2 kills, now Creamel is getting chased up. Rupture not quite landing, but the flash, the flay, the hook, the feral scream finishes him off, and Ex-Matty will secure a double kill.
Good luck getting away from that one, buddy. That's not what you want to see. A really smart Baron call, but we have to draw attention to the fact that Xerath's ult really is the only thing stopping them from taking it for free, and he whiffed 2 out of 4.
That might be just game as well.
It might be.
Singularity, Kurumel is 25 seconds death time, and Shikari 15. They've got enough damage, which I think that they do with those Baron minions as well. Orcs is going to come in with the Tara Cole, straight onto Taxa to keep him alive. Flag and drag out of the base. Now they've got another turret to deal with. That's going to be chomped up. Kurumel still spawning. Inax is going to come up as well. Shifter going very low. He's the main focus. He ends up going down. Now a 3v3. Flag, drag, no Cataclysm just yet, but Kerberos is getting slowed up and stunned up, and he's just going to go down as well, you can imagine. But Orcs going fairly low as well. That Rupture almost killed him. Feast not quite coming in to save the day, but they still secure 2 Nexus turrets.
I think the best part about that fight right there was the fact that while it was all going down, Singularity were running for their lives, scrambling for things right there. Paris pinged blue buff on his way. And there he is. He's just taking it.
Oh, guys, I'm going to blue.
Don't worry about me, lads. You do what you're doing mid lane. I'm taking blue buff.
I'm taking blue. It's the most important thing about a mid laner.
Yeah.
When you get your blue buffs, which is never, by the way.
Yeah.
Paris should be very...
not if I'm jungling.
Yeah. you're the type of jungler that steals my blue buffs. Okay. And I say steal, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. Does not donate is what I would say.
Does not donate. We'll tell you who is not donating. Inax with his arrows. Something that we've seen in the early game, that he was using them off cooldown. But now, they're not being able to find these picks. I said about the amount of pick potential ESL have with the Cataclysm and the Ash Arrow. Right now, he's using it to disrupt Baron more often than not, and not finding anything meaningful off the back of them.
I mean, even if you arrow Varus, he's already got Mercurial Scimitar, so you're not going to catch him. And if you do arrow someone meaningful, you've got the Thresh Lantern as well. So, on the 1% chance that you can aim an arrow that doesn't hit Sejuani or Cho'Gath, you have to think that there's a limited possibility for what you can do. So really, it must suck right now to be in this position. And Inax has been forced to go for this Sash as well, when he's already behind in items. And they are such a huge front line. You need your AD carry to be pumping out damage.
Singularity want to finally take that to bottom tier 2. They still have Baron buff, mind you, so those minions are packing a punch. And that is Zir. Has reached that point in the game, Foxtrot, where it just becomes absolutely obnoxious.
I mean, we talked about the win condition of that. The huge front line and the poke in the backside with the carries. And let me tell you this much, that Inax is getting chunked. and you can't team fight when the AD carry is this low.
X-Matty takes one of those to the face. Oh, I just sidestepped that one, no worries.
But they're perfectly happy with that. What does that achieve? And it means that now it's easier for them to push him for the next wave. And whereas Inax, I talked about him being low, he's not really low. Considering Cho'Gath does like 3/4 of AD carries health, if you're not on full health.
There's the arrow, but the Shifter lands the hook onto Orcs. Cataclysm is going to come down onto Shifter. Orcs is going to unleash that Radiance. They already pick up 1 kill. Now they're just chasing. Rupture is going to land on Shikari. Half HP. So much damage from Paris Cruz. Left completely alone in the back line. They're going to take out the massive beast. But so is Kerberos. He's going to go down as well. They end up trading 2 for 1 in favor of XL. But those minions are still pummeling away on the Nexus, leaving Singularity pretty much a free bottom lane turret.
And a Warmogs on Sejuani as well means that she's now back and ready to go at it again. So if your front line's big, you can do this.
It's going to go down. Here comes Taxa. Shurima shuffle. There's Taxa almost going down, but they're going to focus Inax off to the side. Isolated falls. Paris Grieve very low as well, but Singularity more than happy with that.
I mean, when Azir is popping up as hard as he is right now, you got to find those opportunities to really just kill him. Get that just little scraps of gold that can get you back into the game. But it's so hard. Honestly, XL did a really good defense right here, considering that their Nexus is naked and being smashed in by the super minions from mid lane. That's very difficult to defend against that, and a Baron buff siege in bot lane. I mean, that's just really tricky. And we're seeing as well, in these extended fights, Warmogs plays a huge part if you're a front line, and all you have to do is just tank tower. In these situations, you've got Azir and Varus still alive. All they need you to do is tank tower, and they'll do the rest. So having a Warmogs, even if you lose a fight like that, you can still put the pressure in. And listen, they still got that tower. That tower is dead in bot side now. So that's now another inhibitor that's open. Right.
Baron spawning in about 1:45 as well. And one thing Orcs actually said before these games was, Sessa is the playmaker. This guy, we got to watch out for him, because he will set up the jungle. He will set up his lanes as well for success. Apparently, Paris Cree doesn't need any of that.
No.
He does not need any of this, Foxtrot. He doesn't need jungler's help. He's a strong, independent mid laner. He is 5-1 right now. Sessa, though, over the wall is going to find Crewmail. Crowbuster's going to come in as well with the Righteous Glory. Does get stunned up. There's a Cosmic Radiance as well onto Orcs and Crewmail to keep them alive for the time being. Sessa going extremely low. Zeref trying to pick him off, but can't quite find the kill. Shikari finds him with his Subjugate. Tracks her over the wall. Flag and drag. X-Matty still backing away. Sharima shuffle onto 3 people. Inax going really low. Kerberos flashing towards him. Is going to be able to find him, and they rip through Trundle as well in that meantime. Crewmail and Orcs, only members left alive in Singularity, are going to find themselves tier 2 in the top lane.
Yeah, they say Paris is the city of love. I'm in love with that play right there. That is a game-winning play. I don't know if they're going to win right now, but in general, that is the kind of play that wins you games.
Well, inhibitors aren't going down. We said, like you said a second ago, that bottom inhib is completely open and free. But hey, guess what? So is that Nexus.
Yes,
they're going to focus here. Orcs gets hooked. Flag and drag straight onto Parascree, but he's still alive. Cannot quite keep himself alive. And now X-Matty is just ending the game. Parascree finds himself another one, generously donates it to X-Matty, and that'll be Singularity going 1 game up against XL.
Said it was a game-winning play. Turns out I was right. Had faith all along. Never did I doubt that call. That was a really, really nice performance from Paris on the Azir there. That was absolutely sublime. And that's what you want. If you're struggling right in the early game, things are looking a little bit tough in that top lane. Having your Azir pop off like that, considering it's a late game carry as well, there are fewer things that are nicer to see in League.
Fewer things nicer to see. I'll tell me about it. Seeing Azir pop off.